Hello, and welcome back for another session of PPM 101, brought to you by Acuity PPM, where today we're covering the topic of work intake. Does your organization have a single front door where project proposals can be created and brought to decision makers? Or is your company like many others where there's not only a front door, but a side door, a back door, and a lot of windows? That can result in a lot of organizational confusion and a lack of visibility into what work is going on in the portfolio. So the first basic question we want to cover is, what is work intake? And in short, it refers to the process to create proposals and bring them to decision makers for a go or no-go decision. There's a number of benefits associated with having a good work intake process. And the first is organizational clarity. When employees understand how proposals can be generated and reviewed, they're far more likely to participate. There's greater efficiency by having a standardized process. What information is needed? What information is not needed? This will shorten the time to create and review proposals. It'll also result in higher quality proposals by focusing people on what's most important. There's a greater consistency, and this is really from the angle of the decision makers themselves. When the proposals have a consistent look with the same information, it's much easier to compare ideas and make better decisions. And finally, it helps control the work in progress for the organization. If too much work is going on, projects are at risk of delays. As we covered in a previous video, portfolio management helps answer the question, do we have the right projects? And in the context of the portfolio lifecycle, work intake falls within the define the portfolio lifecycle phase and helps answer this question. So let's take a further look. So with the work intake process, proposals come in and they may get approved. Other proposals, however, will get rejected or may get put on hold into a project parking lot. In addition to the work intake process, we may have an ideation process, the process to generate new ideas. And it works in tandem with the work intake process. Many companies also have a formal phase gate or stage gate process, which helps review projects based on certain criteria phase by phase. So this is the entire look at defining the portfolio and how ideas can come in. But for this purpose, many organizations choose to start with a work intake process and later add on ideation and/or phase gate. So here are a few steps and considerations for creating a work intake process. Firstly, it's very important to document roles and responsibilities. Who's responsible for creating the proposal, who's going to review it, how and when is it reviewed, and how are the decisions made. Next, it's important to determine the thresholds for what proposals are reviewed. For many organizations, they have to define what a project is based on a dollar threshold, based on a resource effort threshold, so that not every single small idea comes into the intake process, but rather is limited to larger, more strategic projects. That criteria will need to be defined company by company. Next, it's important to document the workflow. It doesn't have to be complicated, but even understanding the basic steps for how proposals are built, where they're submitted to, and who reviews them will provide that organizational clarity. And then finally, it's important to identify the basic tools for creating proposals. Some organizations have very basic manual processes and use simple tools such as Excel or Word. Others may have more sophisticated or automated tools that simplify the process and provide a consistent experience. So in summary, The work intake process gives us a single front door to the organization. It's important to have clear roles and responsibilities. It's very important to clarify what information needs to be submitted. And there has to be clear process ownership. Without ownership, the process will fail. And with that ownership comes clear communication, communicating not only what the process is, but what decisions were made. And there also needs to be clear timetables for submitting requests and making presentations. If you'd like to learn more about how to create a work intake process or would like to learn about Acuity PPM software, contact us. Thank you.